This is Educated Artistry. I am your host, fellow lash artist, hype girl, and business coach, Kayla Hertz. Listen along for knowledge, insight, and education into the lash industry. This podcast is created to help you make the best business decisions for your own lash career. You all deserve the lash career of your dreams, and I want our weekly chats to help get you there. Get ready for a lot of transparency and some real talk. Hello, guys. Welcome back to Educated Artistry. I'm your host, Kayla Hertz. In case this is your first time tuning in, we are back from a 4-week long break. And as you can see, I'm coming to you from my apartment. I'm on the couch. I'm cozy. I'm not in the studio recording because I just kind of wanted to have some chill vibes. And let's hope that my dogs don't bark and that there's not too much editing for my wonderful editor to just cut out all those dog barks. But we're back. I'm super excited to, just ring in this new year with a brand new episode of Educated Artistry. If you didn't know, I took a break because I went on a 2-week long vacation. There was the holidays, all of that fun stuff. So I really just wanted to disconnect from business as much as I could and take a nice little break. In today's episode, we are going to be covering a couple things. So, first things first, I'm going to announce the top downloaded episode of Educated Artistry for 2022. Now, this was just an episode that just the guests were in the running. I don't do like my solo episodes. This is just going to be a little way to celebrate the guest. I am going to give you guys the top 5, and we will get down to the final winner and the most downloaded episode, and they will get a custom engraved little trophy to show off and to, I don't know, have. I just wanted to create something that was to give people a little bit more recognition. We don't have enough awards in this industry yet, so I wanted to do something fun. We're also going to be talking about just kind of how the month has been, taking this time off, and give you guys a little bit of a recap on my vacation. I'm going to also share with you guys how I planned and I prepped for stepping away from my business for 2 weeks as a solo lash artist. And then I'm going to share a couple of my biggest takeaways from this vacation. I'm super excited to dive into today's episode. Okay, the moment you guys have been waiting for. Who won the top downloaded episode of Educated Artistry for 2022? The guest lineup for 2022 was so freaking good. I am so proud to have all these guests on there, and it is just it's just amazing. I had shared the past couple months on my stories to make sure that you are downloading your favorite guest episode, that you're sharing it with your friends. If you were a guest, to make sure that you're sharing your episodes so you can get those downloads up. So if you were a guest and you didn't win this year, it's okay because you can still win next year if you want to be a guest again on the podcast. And just share your episode, share it with your audience, and that's going to help you get those downloads up so you can win this prize. I started this last year and our winner was Carol Jamie. Of course, you guys know her well. It kind of started as a joke. She was like, "Do I get a gold star or something?" Because she would ask how her episode was doing. And then I just randomly was like, "No, girl, I'm sending you a freaking trophy." So I sent her a trophy that said #1 most downloaded episode of Educated Artistry for 2021. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to make this a thing. So it's been really fun. And I do have a couple guests that are really, I like love when you guys message me and you're like, how's my episode doing? How am I doing? Like, where am I at? I will say, I'm going to give you guys the top 5. And like 2 through 5 were literally less than 5 downloads different on where they landed on the list. So I'm telling you guys, share your episode. There was one that was only 2 downloads difference that got somebody into a place. So just make sure you're sharing. But here we go. Let's get into number 5 and we'll work our way up. So, the 5th most downloaded episode of Educated Artistry for 2022 was The Business Behind Your Passion with Michaela of Revive Lash Co. And as somebody who is a fellow Pacific Northwestern, I'm super excited to see that she took in the top 5. Make sure you guys go check her episode out and go give her a follow. Number 4 was Business Beyond the Chair with Tara Walsh of Lessons of a Lashpreneur. And this was a part 1 episode. We did do a collab episode on this. So she placed number 4. And number 3 was another collab episode. We have Booth Renting versus Commission with Wednesday Wood of the Wicked Lash podcast, part 1. So congratulations, Wednesday, on placing number 3. And for our second most downloaded episode of Educated Artistry, once again, another collab. So other podcast guests, you want to get on these top downloads, then let's do a collab because we have three in the top five that were collab episodes. So number two is The Power of Video in Your Beauty Business with April Meese, part one. Congratulations, April. And number one, drum roll, please. Number one downloaded episode of Educated Artistry for 2022 was Melissa Wells, Taking Control of Your Money Mindset with Melissa and Money. This one was our number one episode. Congratulations, Melissa. I do know she's taking a little bit of a social media break, but I'm going to email her so I can get her trophy sent out to her. And I will send you guys what it looks like too before I send it out. So congratulations to everybody in the top five. It was a wonderful year. This was honestly like just such a cool year for the podcast. There was insane growth. And it's going on 4 years now, which is like really crazy to think about. So, congratulations, everybody. I'm super excited. And if you want a chance to win 2023, you know what you got to do. Reach out to me. If you have an idea on an episode, if you have a story to share, if you want to teach something, if you want to just talk with me, then please feel free to reach out and let's see if we can collaborate and get you on an episode. I want to add to make sure that you guys go listen to these top five. If you haven't already, go check them out. Go congratulate them on placing top five and check out their episodes. And especially for the ones that are the two parters, go check out their podcast so you can hear the rest of the episode as well. I want to take a quick second to talk to you guys about the Eye to Eye Pro app. This is the beauty industry's first ever dual app for lash artists and beauty service providers to custom brand as their own. You can manage your clients, service forms, contracts, booking, sales, video and text messages, and more. An optional free app for your clients is available to communicate directly with yours. Eye to Eye Pro can be downloaded in Apple and Google Play. And if you guys listened to the last episode, episode 87 with Crystal, we really dive into the creation of the Eye to Eye Pro app and all the features that it comes with, all the features that are coming. And I have even downloaded it myself, started customizing it, and I really want to use the feature to be able to give my clients this VIP experience by being able to download their app that's going to be branded as mine. And that way that they can communicate with me. All of their forms are there. All of their photos are in their nice little app. And all they have to do is to press and open that app. They can book appointments, shop sales, anything like that. And Crystal has a really great offer for us, for listeners. You can use code EducatedArtistry22. You can use code EducatedArtistry22 to receive instant access to all the PDF forms that are usually only available 30 days after sign up. And the great thing about this app too is that no matter what, whether you use the code or not, you automatically get a free 30 days to this app to try it out, customize it, see how you like it. But make sure you plug in that code EducatedArtistry22 so you can get instant access to all of the free PDF forms that you are going to love. You can download the app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Okay, so let's get into the main part of this episode, which we're going to go into recapping vacation and kind of how I planned and I prepped to step away from my business for 2 whole weeks, which I never had done. So, in the beginning of 2022, I told myself, I'm going to take a 2 week vacation, like full 2 weeks off. I've always done like long weekends, maybe like 5 days, probably a week was like the most I'd ever done of a vacation. But even at a week, I don't know, like you guys may feel this way too. If I took a week off, I never really felt I could actually relax and just like chill. It just wasn't enough time. It was really weird. By the time I was like, oh, I can breathe, I was getting back to work. So that has been something that's always been kind of hard for me. In my entire almost 8 years of being a lash artist, I had never taken a 2 week vacation. I mean, okay, besides like COVID, but let's be real, that wasn't a vacation for a lot of us. So I had never taken off that much time from my clients, and I had the bright idea to book a trip on New Year's Day, which actually worked out really well. And if you live in Washington, Oregon, like in an area where it's really rainy during these winter months, then I highly suggest going somewhere with sunshine during that time of the year. And it was really great to go on a trip right after Christmas because we do know the holiday season is really crazy for service providers. So it was a really nice time to take a break. Everyone's in for the holidays and they're good to go. And it kind of just was a great time to take a break. So I highly suggest, honestly, beginning of January or in January, going and booking your vacation. So I had ended up taking a total of 16 days off because I have made the mistake many times where I will take a vacation and I come back and I go to work the next day and I'm always so like just flabbergasted because I'm stressed. I like haven't unpacked. I don't feel like I had a day to like kind of reset. So I told myself I'm taking the day off before I leave. So I could, you run all those little errands before you have to go to the airport. You have to get things done. I had to, get my dog situated with my mom. And then I said I'm gonna take a couple days off when I get back to like do laundry, unpack, get back to clients, like kind of just get back into the swing of things. So it was a total of 16 days off, which was just insane to me. And I know that as a solo lash artist, it can seem impossible to take off that much time from your clients. For me, lash clients are still like the largest part of my income. So it can be really scary to, say goodbye to that for a couple weeks because if that's your main income, then you're not making money if you're not there. Now, for me, I do have online courses, coaching, the podcast is now bringing in some income, but those things are still a smaller percentage compared to my clients. So I really did have to plan and prep and be intentional with this vacation. And even if your income is, you're mainly pulling online income and you're selling courses, you still do have to be intentional if you want to take a break and step away from your business for 2 weeks and not be like still working on your business while you're on vacation because that's no fun either, right? So I wanted to plan and prepare my budget, my clients, and myself for taking this much time off. How I started with the planning process was I booked this trip about 6 months in advance. So I knew I would have a really good amount of time to save extra money and make sure that I was all set for this time off. I adjusted my schedule for before and after. And all I did, guys, because I take clients 3 days a week, all I did was I added 1 day to the week before I left and 1 day to the week I got back. So instead of working 3 days, I added a day to each week. So I was working 4 days the week before and the week after. I gave my clients plenty of notice, especially since this was around the holiday time, and I got them all booked out to the time when I got back. So that way they weren't messaging me or trying to book out appointments. I booked them out through the end of January. That way they all had their appointments ready to go when I got back. I had a lot of clients that that usually came in at 3 weeks, that came in at 2 weeks instead. So that way they could get in the week before I left. And then their regular 3 week appointment would happen again the week I got back. So a lot of people did that. Some of you guys are going to hate this one. And you're right, going to be like, Kayla, I would never. But I had about 6 clients that I sent to other lash artists while I was gone. Yeah. I sent them somewhere else, guys. And guess what? It's not the end of the world and it's okay because a lesson that I've learned too is that even and what a lot of us do is that when we go on vacation or anything like that, we either cram everybody in and we work like crazy people before we leave, or we do it after and we, cram everybody in and work crazy afterwards. And that has just not worked out for me in the past. Like I said, I did add a day to each week, which gave like supplemented and opened up some more spots for clients. And that was my max. I was like, I'm not going to work 6 days a week to try to get everybody in. I'm not going to work 12-hour days to try to get everybody in before I leave. It's just not going to happen. And it's not healthy for me. It's not going to be good for my client because I'm sorry for me after a client 4, I'm like cannot I cannot make a fan anymore and my back hurts and everything. And my eyes are going crossed. So I sent about 6 of my clients to other artists. I had a few clients that they needed to get in the week I was gone because they were going on a trip. So I referred them out to other people. I'm really lucky to have an amazing artist in my studio. And now I actually have 2 that I could refer them to. So that way they were coming to the same place, which was great. And I know they're getting amazing work. But I did have a few clients that I referred outside of my studio because the girls in my studio are booked too. So they can only take a few. And it was amazing. It's they were all taken care of. I contacted all of the artists. I sent them over the notes of what I usually do on them, gave them a couple little tips about the client if they were a little difficult or if they had an issue with gel pads or anything like that because I wanted my client to have a really good experience and be taken care of while I was gone. And those artists did that. And that's okay because guess what, guys? My clients still came back to me. They didn't just leave me for this artist. They came back to me. And the great thing now too is that if I ever do get sick or ever have to take an extended period of time off, they have somebody else that they trust that they can go to and that I can refer them to. So I know that it may sound like you guys are gonna hate this and be like, I would never. They're my clients. I keep them to myself. But at the end of the day, there are going to be some circumstances that you might have to refer clients out, and it is okay because if you are confident in your artistry, your skills, your customer experience, those clients are going to come back to you. And even if the artist you sent them to was $10 cheaper and they decided, oh, I'm going to go see her instead so I can save $10, is that really a client that you want long term? Like, no, probably not. So that is what I did with a couple clients because it just needed to happen. Another way that I prepped was communication. I scheduled out emails to send to my clients, reminding them that I would be out of town and unavailable. Because the worst thing when you're on vacation is having your clients blow up your DMs, blow up your phone, asking how to reschedule if they can reschedule, or they'll say, I know you're on vacation, but, and then it's nothing that couldn't wait. So I really wanted to make sure that I had clear communication and intentions and gave my clients really clear instructions on how this was going to work and what it was going to look like. So I did Flow Desk. I've talked about it a ton on this podcast. I have it linked in my bio if you guys want to try it free for 30 days. Freaking love it. Beautiful. Build your email list. Beautiful, easy, simple, and it's amazing. I can't brag about it enough. I had scheduled out a couple emails and to remind them. Now, of course, I talked to all my clients about in person. I made sure they were booked out through end of January, let them know I was going to be gone. And then about 2 weeks before I left, I sent out an email and I reminded them that I was going on vacation, what days it was going to be, and that I would be back and available on January 14th to respond to messages, answer questions, or anything like that. And my first day back to work wasn't until the 16th. So this gave me 2 days that they could communicate with me. So I assured them, I'm like, so if you need to cancel or you need to reschedule an appointment that's on the 16th, as long as you contact me on the 14th, I mean, or even the 15th, you're going to be within your 24-hour cancellation. So you're going to have time. So that was something that really helped too. And I'll tell you guys, my clients listened. This is probably the first time that they were really like, did nobody message me until the 14th. I had like 3 clients reach out on the 14th in the morning. I was like shook. I'm like, damn, they listened to me. That's crazy. Like, trained them well. So I would link my booking link in case they needed to reschedule. I use Square. A lot of them know how to reschedule their appointments if needed. So I linked that in the email. I gave the clear dates of when I would be back and responding to messages. And then I also resent a reminder email about 48 hours before I left. So they had it just fresh in their mind, like, oh, yeah, she's going to be gone. She won't be responding to things until this or that. And then I gave them the links to anywhere if they needed to find anything. As the main thing is going to be the booking link if they need to reschedule any appointments or they want to book out appointments further in the future. So that was something really great. My clients really responded well and they listened. So let's go into a couple ways that I prepared financially to take this 2 weeks off. So I told you guys in the beginning that I booked this out about 6 months beforehand. So I knew that I needed to budget and save extra money because I wasn't going to be bringing in an income during those 2 weeks, at least as much of an income as I was used to. Because, like I said, taking clients was my main source of income. I wanted to make sure that I was a month ahead on all of my expenses, and that way I didn't have to stress about bills and all that stuff. So I calculated my business and my personal bills, and I wanted to make sure that I was going to be a month ahead, and I had that in an account. So I did that and I divided it by 6 and I just started to be really intentional with making sure I was putting extra money aside so that way it wasn't even something I had to worry about. I was really intentional with my sales during these months too. And I don't know if it was just being on vacation because I feel like we should always be trying to upsell and sell our retail. But just knowing like, Kayla, you're taking 2 weeks off and you're not going to, you're going to not have as much of an income. I was really intentional with the type of promotions that I was doing within my studio and like the retail sales. It kind of worked out perfectly with Christmas. More people were buying retail, but I was offering bundle deals and stuff like that, add-on services where I was adding on brow waxes to their lash fills, which like pumped up my income for that month. And since I took clients the week after Christmas, I did have a lot of retail that was holiday retail technically. I had candles and there was holiday scents. So I was really intentional with really pushing a good end of year sale for that retail to kind of get it off the shelf. So it wasn't sitting there chilling for 2 weeks. So right after Christmas, I did an end of the year sale. I pushed a lot of my retail of the holiday stuff and we did like 30 or 40% off. And that way that helped tune my retail sales, got some inventory off the shelves. It wasn't just going to sit there. So I just really intentional with the type of promotions that I was doing and sales in my online part of my business and in my business in my studio. A big part of budgeting too and saving money is that I put all of my savings into a high yield savings account. And if any of you guys haven't heard of that before, I use one called Ally. It's Ally, and it's an app that you download. It's like an online banking, and you are able to get a much higher interest rate on a savings account versus what you would get on like a regular savings account with like let's say Wells Fargo or Chase. Those are going to be a much smaller percentage of interest that you're going to get back compared to what you're going to get on a high yield savings. I think my one with Wells Fargo was like a 0.022% interest rate, where if you look at the end of the year, it's like pennies that you gain on interest. With high yield savings accounts, there are some that you can get 3.75% interest. So you can be making a lot more money on a savings account that's going to sit for a short term savings compared to with your bank. So like I said, I use Ally and that one I really liked. And I think it's getting me like 3.5% interest. These are great for any short term, like emergency funds, vacation funds, anything like of a short term savings that you want to save for. So I have one for personal and then I have one for business. Let me talk about the personal one first and then I'll talk about business. So, because your accounts should be separate, right? So, for personal, what I did, knowing that I was going to be going on vacation, I wanted to be a month ahead in my personal expenses. So, with Ally, I have that account is separate from my business one. And I would automatically have money transfer in there every week. And I like having my savings account completely separate from my regular checking and savings account with like a larger bank because with these high yield savings accounts, it's not as easy to transfer. Like I can't instantly transfer money where you can if you're like just switching money between your checking and your savings with your bank. For me personally, I like just knowing it's over there. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be tempted to like transfer money if I'm going to impulse buy something because it just makes me stop and think. So I have weekly reoccurring transfers just go into that account. I do a smaller amount so I don't even think about it. It goes in every week. It's good to go. And then you get paid the interest. The nice thing about this app too is that you can separate it in different buckets. So you'll have like the same savings account, but you can separate it in like vacation fund, emergency fund, dog fund, car fund. You can kind of separate in all of those. So that's what I did too. So I would put money in for a vacation fund every week. The money would go in there. So that was really great to do. And then you're building much more interest on it compared to a regular savings account. So I do this the same for business. I put all of the money that I'm saving for taxes in a high yield savings account for business because that money is going to be sitting in there for months. Or if you're going to do, if you pay once a year, whatever it is, all that extra money is just going to be sitting in there in that savings account. And it's going to be making you more money than it would if it's just sitting in a regular savings account. So I have a separate account with Ally that is just for business, a business savings that money goes there and it's going to build that interest on there. What's great about the high yield savings accounts too is it is something that is going to make you more money. So it's something if you have like a short term savings, I would say if you're saving for an emergency fund, you're saving for your taxes, you're saving for a vacation, something that's going to be saving in there for like 1 to 3 years, then that's a great place to put it because it's still going to be really easy to access if you need it compared to like if you're investing and stuff like that, which I won't get into that because I'm definitely not a professional there and my knowledge on it's like okay, but not enough to be like teaching you guys. So that is something great that I did is I put everything into a high yield savings account, automated transfers for my business and my personal, which I already have those normally, but like I said earlier, I knew if I wanted to be a month ahead and I wanted to have X amount of spending money, then I needed to put this much in there per month. And then you can decide, do you want to just transfer that much extra per month or do you want to break it down weekly so it doesn't seem as big of a pool every month? And so that is what I did. And that's how I budgeted to take off 2 weeks and know that I would be okay. So that was a great thing. Another thing that I did was I had signed on another girl to lease my bed on my days off. So a part time lash artist. And then I already have another girl in there that leases full time. So with her coming in, all of my business expenses are pretty much covered of what it takes to run the salon. So that was like just a weight off my shoulders too, where I'm like, okay, now everything it takes to run that salon is pretty much covered by my renters. So that was a really great kind of weight off my shoulders to do right before I left as well. So those were just a couple tips of how I planned and I prepped for this vacation that worked really well for me. I did run end of year sales too for the online side of my business, and I have some like small monthly reoccurring income there too. Which after this vacation, I was definitely really inspired and driven to continue building those type of income streams because it is something that's really nice to have that reoccurring income, knowing every month that you're going to have that income every month. So those were just a couple ways I did it. As a solo lash artist, clients were happy. I was happy. I didn't feel stressed about money. I felt excited to come back to work and it worked out really well. So let's go into finishing up this episode with just a couple of my big takeaways from vacation. So I went to Maui. I was there for 12 days. It was freaking wonderful. Like, ugh, the weather was great. The food was great. The drinks were great. The adventures were great. We did zip lining, we did snorkeling, we did whale watching, tons of beach days, lots of shopping, lots of just eating. It was so fun. I'd been to Maui before about 5 years ago, and it was actually crazy because it was almost the same exact time that I went this time, because I also went in January, and I knew I went in January before, but I thought it was way later in the month, and then I saw the Facebook memories. I'm like, "Oh, shoot, I was here 5 years ago." So that was kinda cool, and I will say I was there 5 years ago with an ex. So it was kind of nice to make some new memories and kind of take back my power on what that place meant to me. So that was really cool. But we were there for 12 days. We got this cute little condo and it was right across from the beach and it was beautiful. We had a little bit of a scare about a month before our vacation where our Airbnb was like, "Oh, this is canceled. The owner is not using this rental management company anymore, so it's canceled. And here you go. Here's a list of other places that you can book." And they gave us a list and nothing was in Maui. So I called them and I'm like, "Hey, like I saw our thing got canceled. And you guys sent a list. Thank you so much. But none of these are in Maui. We're like, unfortunately, not open to switching islands." And they got it all fixed out or figured out, and we were gonna be staying in a different side of the island, which was fine because I'd never stayed in that area, and it actually worked out to where we got a bigger condo and we got an extra bathroom. We got, like, it just worked out perfectly. We were closer to the beach, it had air conditioning, the other one didn't have air conditioning, like, it just worked out perfectly. It was on the 1st floor instead of the 4th floor. Just things work out, okay? It was great. I'm stressed at first, and I was like, "Whew, when's it happen?" And it was just a beautiful place, and I'm so happy that it happened that way, so it's meant to be. Um, I'm trying to think of some funny other things we did because I wanted to give you guys just, like, some tea on the vacation. We left, like, really early in the morning on January 1st on New Year's Day, and my sister got stuck by this kid. He was, like, 23, and he was just, like, super hyperactive and just super talkative, and we're both, like, quiet in the morning. We're like, "We need to wake up. We've been up since 3:30 in the morning. Like, go to sleep, bro." But he was just a lot, honestly. He got up, like, 7 times to go to the bathroom on the 5-hour flight. He, like, poked me in the shoulder really hard when I was trying to sleep. He was like, "Do you wanna play a game?" And I was like, "Okay." So I played hangman with him and just I felt like I was trying to entertain a child the whole time. So it started off really interesting. He was nice and harmless, but it's just like, can you like read the cues? Like we're all, everyone's tired. So, and he kept dropping his AirPods and losing them in the seat. It was just kind of chaotic on the flight there, but you know what, whatever. It ended up being good. We got there, we got our car, we met our friend there and started off the vacation, and it was just so fun. So my big takeaways too from this vacation is that it is not greedy to take time off from your business. I had struggled with this for many years. Anytime I would take an extended period of time away from my business, and I struggled with it before taking this time off. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be so long. Like, this is like crazy for me to do. I should be working on this or that. Like, I don't deserve this. Who am I to take off this much time? Who am I to spend this much money on myself? Like, who am I?" And I was feeling really greedy about it. But then I'm like, this is not greedy, right? When we get into business, and people ask, "Oh, why do you want to start your own business? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Give me the 3 top reasons." A lot of us will say, "Well, I want freedom of my time. I want freedom of decisions. I want freedom of what I charge, what my rules are, how I run my business, right? Freedom. That's what we ask for. That's what we want is freedom. But it's the first thing that we take away from ourselves. We overwork, we overbook, we put ourselves on the back burner and we don't go to the gym or take walks or read or see our family. We sacrifice time with our loved ones to get clients in or to do work, and we take away our freedom. It's just wild to me because we got into business because we wanted freedom, but we are the first person that it's really hard to ask permission to have freedom, right? For me, I never want to have to write in and request time off to my boss. I'm my boss, so I have to be, like, intentional with it, and that is just something really hard to come to terms with sometimes for us because we love our businesses. They're like our babies that we're leaving them behind, right? But it's not greedy to take this time off at all. So that was something that I really finally recognized, that it's something that I needed for my mind, body, and soul in order to be a better business owner. My next takeaway was that experiences bring inspiration. That's just what it is. Like, if you're stuck in your same day-to-day routine, your same environment, it can be really easy to lack inspiration, to not feel like you're creative, to feel like you're in a rut. And experiencing new things, being in different environments really does bring in that inspiration. There were so many random things that happened where I was like, I had a notes list where I was like, masterclass idea, post idea, content idea, TikTok idea. They were just coming to me really organically, which was really cool because I feel like for such a long time, I've just been in a rut and I'm like, I don't know, like, ugh, whatever. So, experiences create inspiration. This is something that I'm going to be implementing into my life more often. Obviously, I can't take a 2-week vacation every month, but God, wouldn't that be amazing? But I am going to dedicate and be intentional about taking 1 to 2 nights every month where I go stay. Maybe it's a staycation, it's at a nice hotel in my area, or I go an hour to the beach. Go stay somewhere and take a night or two to experience somewhere different, experience something new, treat myself, take care of myself. And I would encourage you to do that as well. I understand some of you guys have kids, you have families, maybe it's not as easy to take a night away. I would encourage you that once a month you put it in where you have 3 to 5 hours blocked out, or however long, if you can, a whole day to where you go and you do something just for you. It has nothing to do with business and it's just something for you. Try a new hobby, try a new workout class, try a new, take a different path on your walk. Like, try something new. And try different experiences because it's so easy for us to get caught up in just our day to day and never learn anything new, never try anything new. And we're like, what? It just, you feel like you're in this rut. So that was a big one too. My third biggest takeaway was that growth doesn't happen by staying in your comfort zone. I've proven this to myself time and time again when it comes to business, right? Which it's still scary every time the next step of growth comes. It feels really scary and you just want to stay in your really nice comfort, your like nice little cozy bubble. You're like, things are good here, things are happy, it's content, it's safe. And outside of that comfort zone, it's unknown. It's kind of scary, but there's so much out there that you could be reaching to the next level. So I have experiences with my business so many times where I've stepped out of my comfort zone. I've tried something new. It's a success. I'm like, holy cow, like, why did I wait so long? Or maybe it's a failure. And I'm like, okay, now I know. I learned a lot of lessons from that. And this is something that in my personal life, I feel like I stay in my comfort zone a lot. So with snorkeling, if you guys watch my Instagram stories, you know that I was like, I'm terrified of open water. It freaks me out. I'm really scared of sharks and I don't like small boats. Like ocean freaks me out, which is really funny because I grew up in a small beach town in Oregon. And it's just funny that I'm so terrified of the ocean, but that ocean is very cold. So maybe that's what it is. But open water, not my thing. I've tried snorkeling before and I always felt like I was going to hyperventilate when I was just like had the mask on and was just trying to see things. I never had a great experience with it because it was always like murky water, never really saw anything. And we had decided, like literally, we were one day we're like, oh, maybe we should go snorkeling. We were looking up just like we had 2 days left and we were looking up like things to do in Maui. And we kept seeing this one snorkeling place over and over and over again that people were recommending. And it was actually like a 2-minute walk from where we were staying, where they take off. So we're like, okay, let's do it. Let's just do it. I was like, just book it. I can't think about it. Just book it and we're gonna go. Cause I can't think about it. We read the reviews and everything, but it was just like, we have to do it. So we went and it was beautiful. It was a small boat. It was a very small boat that we got on. There was like 20 people on there. Everybody seemed very confident in that. But the guy's telling us like, okay, you got to stay away from this way because there's a current. It's going to take you all the way to like Tahiti or something. Like, and I was like, what the fuck did I just get myself into? But it was fine. He's like, so I stayed very far away from that side of the rock, which was honestly like, it would have taken me forever to get over there anyway. But jumped in and went snorkeling. It was freaking beautiful. It was the clearest water I've ever seen. You could see like 100 feet down, so many beautiful fish. My sister was actually getting super nervous and it kind of like triggered this thing in me where I was like, okay, I have to be the confident one. I have to not be nervous or it's going to make her more nervous. Even though I was scared too, I was like, oh my God. And they gave us our gear first. And I was like, I've only done this one time. And I mean, it was a long time ago and I don't really remember. So I told the guy, I was like, neither of us have gone snorkeling. And so he gave us some tips and stuff, and then we're, like, the first ones to jump in, and I'm like, "Why did you give" like, I wanted to watch other people jump in, but I was just like, "Kayla, don't be a bitch." So, jumped in, my sister was nervous, I was like, "Oh, I just gotta do this." So I just jumped in the water, went, and it was beautiful. I even started, like, diving under the water, I was like, "Who am I? Who am I?" But you know what? If I didn't just jump and just do it and not really think, then I would have just put it off and never would have done it in the first place. If I didn't just say, book it, send me the Venmo request, I don't want to think about it, just book it because once it's booked, I'm not going to back out, right? I'm not going to waste $200. And it was so fun and it was such a cool experience. And it showed me, like, Kayla, you can do hard things. Like, you can do something hard that makes you really uncomfortable, but it turned out to be good. So growth doesn't happen when we stay inside of our comfort zones, and that's just something I'm gonna challenge myself in my personal life to continue to do. But otherwise, guys, it was such I could go on and on. It was just such a fun vacation. It was honestly one that's just gonna be memorable. We bought a what's it called? Those cameras. Oh my God, I can't well, I was supposed to say digital, but they're people are probably yelling at me. Disposable cameras. Disposable cameras. We bought one of those, so I cannot wait to see what the photos look like. But it was just wonderful, and I do think, like, you need to vacation more, okay? Put some money in a high yield savings account, start having that reoccurring transfer go through, save to take yourself somewhere nice because you deserve it. You work hard and vacation really does fix a lot of things. It's going to bring inspiration, it's going to bring experiences, it's going to renew and rejuvenate you. And if anybody has watched White Lotus season 1, we were right next to the Four Seasons where it was filmed. So that was really cool too. I just wanted to like go there and just pretend like my bougiest life and like that I was on White Lotus. I loved it so much. But those are my takeaways. That's how I planned and I prepped for taking away from my business. I'm super excited to continue this year, 2023, with the podcast, guys. We have a lot of really fun, exciting things happening. The format of this podcast is changing dramatically and it is in the works. I'm so excited because it's something that I've wanted to do with this podcast for a long time. So, episodes may be a little bit more bi weekly for a short period of time because I really want to do more episodes in this new format and get planned and get ready and get everything set up for that. So, if episodes are bi-weekly, I'm gonna try and keep doing weekly, but they may be bi-weekly and just so many good things are coming. So I love you guys. Thank you for listening. I wasn't expecting to make this podcast as long, but I appreciate you being here. If you've enjoyed this podcast so far, whether it's your first time listening or this is your we're on like 88 episodes, 88th time listening, then, and you haven't left a review yet, I would really love if you could go take a second, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Let us know how you're liking it. Let us know your favorite episode. It helps so much with this podcast and it helps get it out to more people like you in the beauty industry that can benefit from it and learn from it. So I love you guys so much and I will see you next Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Educated Artistry. You can find me on Instagram at Educated Artistry Podcast or KK Artistry. I am also on TikTok at KK Artistry. Listen, subscribe, and please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. If you are interested in advertising on the podcast, please email me educatedartistrypodcast@gmail.com.